Hi guys, this is Ayan,
This is Shifa.
and this is What Muslims Look Like. This podcast is intended for showing the depth and breadth of the Muslim community's involvement in society, from media to medicine and everything in between. We hope you'll find that there's more to us than meets the eye.
Woo.
So in today's episode, we wanted to do something a little bit different. For the past couple of weeks, we had some great guests. We started off with Shamir and Faraz from Maryland, doing great stuff on YouTube and other platforms. The week after that, we had Amina Suleiman, who is a rock star young woman in the NFL. Shiva's a very good friend, and I like to think she's my very good friend as well. And last
Even though they just met.
yeah, it was friendship at first sight, right? My jokes are so bad. My jokes are terrible.
Please ignore Ayan's humor.
Yeah, ignore my humor. And last week we had the wonderful Sabah Hassan, who is doing great work in California. A scientist, a public figure, an activist, a politician, all this kind of stuff. And today we wanted to kind of focus on what we call what we look like, aka what the lovely Shifa Hassan and the not so lovely and less nice look at myself actually look like. In all seriousness, we just want to talk today about why who we are, our background stories, and why we started to make this podcast. So Shifa, if you want to take it from here and kick it off, the floor is yours.
Great. I don't really know how to talk about myself, but I am a junior film and media arts major at Temple University in Philadelphia. If you know me or if you don't know me, one of the things that probably describes me best is my lifelong romance with anything film and photography related. I've been doing it since I was in 5th grade. I joined a competition, and then long story short, I ended up placing in it and continued to do film and photography work since then. And I loved it so much that I couldn't see myself really doing anything else in college than that. I even tried switching to other majors in business and, well, just business. It didn't work out, so I'm sticking to what I know best, and I feel like I'll, inshallah, do well in that than to just be mediocre in something else. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Also, I love tea. I just thought I'd throw that out there for anyone else who feels the same way about drinking black tea. So about the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
Ani, were you gonna say something?
No, go on.
So one of the things that I have noticed since coming to college is, so another part about my background is that I grew up in an Islamic school like my whole life. I started from preschool and then graduated with my 13 other friends in 12th grade. And then I came to Temple University, which is a large public university in the middle of the city in Pennsylvania. And I thankfully met so many different kinds of people from different races, different socioeconomic statuses, different races, religions, ethnicities. And I've had a lot of different experiences with them. Some people have told me that I'm the first Muslim that they've ever met, or I'm the first brown person they've ever met, or just things of that sort. And one of the things that they've mentioned to me is just they thought Muslims were of a certain type of, they looked a certain way until they met me.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the reasons why we started this was just simply to explain sort of what Muslims look like, but also not really, because Muslims look like literally anything and everything. So it's just, that's pretty much one of the inspirations for why we started the podcast. Explained very poorly by myself. And now Jan can continue explaining his part of why we started the podcast.
All right, guys. Well, most of you guys that are watching this probably either know me or Shifa or both of us, so this kind of repetition for all you guys. But for the person who might have stumbled across it or might have, started following us from the episode we did for us or Shamir or anyone else, my name is Ayan. I'm from Long Island, born and raised. I am a junior, technically I guess a senior at Stony Brook University. It's in Long Island, on Long Island. I'm studying economics, and I hope to go to law school next year, inshallah. I guess, for a big thing for me is I've always been interested in advocacy and public service, and kind of the creative arts from a young age. My mom always used to show me videos of me at 2 years old. When they turn on music, I start dancing, a little whatever. And I've always loved kind of being on the forefront of change and on the forefront of kind of spurring, or moving the needle forward, so to speak. I'm the student government president of my school, and that is a great honor and privilege for me. Um, and Shifa likes tea, and I like Hassan Minhaj. I actually love Hassan Minhaj. My phone. Let me show you guys this 1 second.
Yeah.
Let me.
His obsession is to another level.
Yeah. Let me show you something for a second. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is Hassan Minhaj's photo from
Wait,
the
move it more in the middle.
you guys see this? So he's actually my screensaver. And Riz Ahmed, you guys can see it through here, but Riz Ahmed, the actor, is my background photo once you unlock my screen. And the whole point of this, and what I'm getting to is, the reason why I wanted this podcast, to be a platform for, kind of propagating ourselves forward is because oftentimes in our community, we're like crabs. And I don't know if you guys are aware of the crab in the barrel mentality or whatever, but if you ever see crabs in a barrel, one crab will be going up, and as soon as they reach, the surface, another crab will grab them down. And unfortunately, too many times in the Muslim community, especially, we're like this. When someone's, really popping or making it big, we tend to bring them down. And I think, at the end of the day, if one of us succeeds, we all succeed. I'm just as happy as if Shifa succeeds, or as if Faraz or Shamir or Saba or Amina, if any of them really pop off and do great, amazing things, and they already are, but just to the next level, I feel like I win as well. And I think Shifa and I would both agree on this, that we want this platform to be a place where we can showcase, the wide breadth and depth of the Muslim society, as we said before. And as Shifa said so eloquently before, Muslims don't look like any one thing, right? We're not, Apu from The Simpsons with a Dirk type situation, right? We come from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life. We do a lot of different stuff. We've had already YouTubers, rappers, people working in the NFL, scientists, politicians on our podcast already, and this is our 4th week. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that, we really hope that if you're watching this, you're inspired by the guests we have on, and, maybe even by ourselves, to kind of, make your dreams a reality and realize that your being Muslim, it's not a hindrance, it's actually a plus. And we hope you have that pride inherently in being Muslim and having that pride in Islam to take you and propel you to the greatest heights. So I think that's kind of my long-winded response to why I want to start this podcast.
Yeah, and to continue what you were saying, for the people who aren't Muslim and who are happening to watch this, hopefully, you also get to see that Muslims aren't the stereotypical whatever that you imagine in your head, and that they're much more than just more than what meets the eye. So,
exactly.
Thanks.
One question I have for you, Shifa. So, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this. Shifa and I are actually second cousins.
Oh yeah, we should mention that.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever mentioned that before, but my mom and Shifa's father are first cousins, which makes us second cousins by, I guess, default. That would make sense. And Shifa is actually born 4 days earlier than me. So
yeah, I'm the older one.
Yeah, and she is the wiser one and the more intelligent one, and pretty much any good superlative it kind of attributes. The only thing that I have better than Shifa, the only better thing I have than Shifa
is everything.
Is my bars. I'm. Oh, by the way,
true.
People sleep on my rapping skills. I think I'm a pretty good rapper.
Yeah.
Watch out.
I think you should show everybody.
No, not today.
In a later episode.
Yeah, maybe if you guys want me to rap in a later episode, leave in the comments below. And if there's no comments, you'll never hear me rap. So this will be a.
Everybody needs to comment.
Yeah. So I guess the question I have for you, Shifa, is I think we've talked about this before privately, and sometimes, and I think maybe in the podcast before too, but. The filmmaking, especially Hollywood today, the Me Too movement is really out there, and it's a great movement. Actually, Tarana Burke, who started the Me Too movement, is actually at Stony Brook today. So that's really cool.
No way.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to meet her, but Tarana Burke, by the way, she's the one who started the Me Too movement. And I didn't get a chance to meet her, but she's a wonderful woman. Check her out if you guys have the chance. So Hollywood is obviously a male-dominated industry.
For sure.
Filmmaking is a male-dominated industry. And even the women that are in the industry predominantly are white women, whether that's from filmmaking to directing to acting to editing, the whole 9 yards. Obviously, you are not a white woman, nor are you a man.
Nope.
Unless you're hiding your whiteness behind, whatever.
Behind my scarf, underneath,
yeah,
I'm all
exactly.
white.
But so I guess my question is, you're going to a field, and I know, first of all, that you've mentioned before that Hollywood isn't necessarily the goal for you, and if you want to elaborate that as well, that'd be cool. But, what is, your thoughts on that whole dynamic? of Hollywood and of the the patriarchal system that we live in, where men are judged by the quality of their actions, but women are judged by how they look. So if you can elaborate on that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I could go on literally for hours and hours about this. I don't know if we have time, but just kidding. Yeah, one thing I could start off with is just the aspect of Hollywood and just like being a film major, and everyone automatically assumes that, oh, like your goal is to go straight to Hollywood, which if that ever happens down the line would be obviously amazing. But like my
Inshallah. Say
initial goal,
inshallah.
inshallah, God
Yo,
willing, that means
anyone that's seeing this right now better say inshallah and say no nazar because we don't know nazar game. You know what I mean?
Nazar means like the evil eye,
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
case
My
you
bad,
don't
my
know.
bad, my bad, my bad.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, like my main goal isn't to go to Hollywood. The reason why I started, or the reason why I love film so much, just overall in general, it's just because for me, it's like my outlet to go to express myself and to express who I am, what my beliefs are, my identity, etc. Public speaking wasn't my thing. Writing is. I wish it was my thing. It's not
Nah,
entirely my thing.
nah. Okay, whoa, hold up. I'm
Okay,
also
no, no,
I'm
no,
also going to link some of Shifa's
no,
writing in the
no,
bio
no,
down
no,
low, so
no.
you can click on that and read that yourself.
No, no, just don't. So yeah, and for me, like my outlet is film, just because it incorporates writing, and incorporates sound, incorporates visuals, everything all
Right.
into one, and it's the most easily accessible platform around the world. Like I can make a video right now, and someone from India can see it right away, which I think is incredible and really powerful. As we can all see the impact of the media, whether it's good or bad, right now. And so my goal for doing filmmaking is just to get my story out, and what that means is just like who I am, what my beliefs are, like I said earlier, and just to shed like a positive light on like the identities that I hold to myself. So that is the filmmaking aspect. And then just overall in Hollywood and just like male dominated system, I don't even know how to like explain. That's also one of the reasons why I want to get into film, just because like when you think of Hollywood, you don't think of, I don't even know what the statistic is, but it's less than 10% or way less than 10% of like women directors are women, and then in terms of that,
People
like
of
much
color, right?
less,
Yeah.
yeah, people
Yeah.
of color. And I think it has such a huge effect on like the kind of movies that we see. Like when you go into a movie theater, like I think Get Out is one of the most recent ones that probably describes and it actually talks about like racial dynamics.
Mm.
And I think that's why a lot of people related to it a lot, just because like that applies to their life, and it's directed by a black man, so it's just like you can tell the difference between just like a film directed by a person of color, and then as opposed to like just a white person, just because like they have different experiences, and everyone when you direct like a film, you're approaching it
From your
the way
vantage
like
point.
you live, yeah, from
Yeah.
your vantage point,
Yeah.
exactly. And so like I don't know if there's like a famous hijabi director or whatever, but like if they were to create a film, it would be completely different than if a Muslim male or like any type of male created that movie, just because like it's from my point of view and the way that I live my life. So I feel like that perspective is missing from Hollywood, which is one of the big reasons that I want to go into just film in general, just so that um, people can hear my story, or people like me's story from our own perspective. Because if I don't tell it, somebody else will. So
True. True.
yeah,
Snap. Snap.
I could go on. It's something that's like really passionate for me. It's just
Right.
so hard to actually like
Yeah.
articulate, because it's like so like immersed inside of me. So yeah, that's my answer. Okay, so Ayan, why don't you tell us a little bit more about? You said you're a junior slash senior, and
Hmm.
then hopefully planning to go to law school. Um, what are your future plans, and what do you want to do with Why do you want to go into law first of all, and then what are your plans to go into that?
That's a good question. Um, I think for me, one really big thing I'm interested in law is, there's a pretty basic fact that we're all kind of aware of, and I think people across the political spectrum can agree on, is that our justice system is completely broken. Right? During Amina's episode, we kept saying free Meek Mill, as almost, like in all seriousness, right? Meek Mill, if you guys don't know, he's a rapper from Philadelphia, and he's in jail right now for violating probation, but it's the most bogus charge, and like it makes no sense. Where many of us may be aware of the prison industrial complex, pretty much the fact that companies have private prisons, and universities and stockholders and shareholders and businesses or whatever invest in those private prisons, and they make money off people going to jail. I can go on forever. The crack cocaine epidemic in the 1980s. So people made a distinction, and by people I mean the predominantly white men who were in charge of Congress at the time, and who still pretty much are today. They made a distinction between crack cocaine and powder cocaine, right? The only difference was crack cocaine was used more, was cheaper, and so therefore was used by predominantly poor crowds, which because of institutionalized racism and bigotry and intolerance for the past, millennia or whatever against people of
Mhm.
color, was predominantly black people in America. And what happened is they were seen as criminals and thrown into jail. Um, People with, who had like a gram of weed were thrown into jail for 5 years, 10 years. Nowadays we hear about the legalization of marijuana, and we see, predominantly white people with money making businesses out of them, making millions of dollars. Meanwhile, those same people who are in jail for 20 years for having 1 gram of weed, which is now legal, are still in jail. Which is why, by the way, I don't want to go on a tangent, but why I also believe that if you're talking about legalizing marijuana without, um, commuting those people's sentences or offering reparations for those people who were unjustly arrested and thrown into jail, then that's just increasing the institutionalized racism that exists in America for so many years. I guess for me, why I want to go into law is kind of, I want to change the system from the inside. And I know a lot of people in the activist community would not agree with me on that. I think a lot of people, they want to change from the outside, which is, respectable, and we can disagree on the methods, but I think we can all agree on the end goal, right? Which is we need to make sure that the America that, we get older in and that our kids grow up in is not the same punitive America that judges us by the color of our skin. MLK's promise 60 years ago, 50 years ago, still hasn't come true. At the end of the day, Shifa was talking about filmmaking, and if she makes a film about her experience in America, it will be drastically based upon her identity as a brown girl wearing hijab, where people see her not as Shifa as this brilliant young woman, but many people see her as this hijabi who might have a bomb, right? Where, growing up in school, I had to face Islamophobia, right, and blatant racism, right? Not because I was a bad kid or they thought I was going to do anything bad, just because of the color of my skin, just because of God I worship to. So I think the reason why I want to go into public service and I want to go into politics and law, but also why I want to go into media, I want to actually, in all seriousness, make rap music. I want to make movies. I want to act in movies, is so that we have the representation that we deserve, and that we have our ability to kind of present our own case. You know what I'm saying? We have problems in our own community. Let's not get that wrong. But at the same time, as Shiva said, let us tell our own stories, and let us hang our own laundry out to dry. Please don't do it for us. So I think that's kind of what I want to do in my life. And, I didn't give you a concrete answer of what I want to do, but I guess all those things kind of encompass what I want to do with my, my career going forward.
In terms of law school, it's probably one of the most competitive fields.
Right.
So this is you don't have to really answer concretely, but what makes you think that you're gonna be different in that field? Just because there's so many people,
Right.
Who are in that field, and it's so hard to get a job, get a field, get something legit going on. So what makes you knowing that? What makes you still want to go into it?
For those people who aren't aware, the Hadith is the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one of the first Hadith in Sahih Bukhari is "Innamal a'malu binniyat," right? So every action is judged by its intention, right? I hope to one day, and I strive to hope to one day kind of change the criminal justice system. That goal may never manifest itself in reality. I'm fully aware of that. Many people have tried, many people have failed. Many people have spent their entire lives on this and pushed the needle only this much further, right? But all we can do is try, right? And if our intentions are clear and are pure, then that's what it is. And I hope that, the issue becomes is that when you become a lawyer, right, you can make a lot of money doing a lot of different things. You know what I mean? And you can do a lot of things that aren't necessarily the most moral things to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And money talks, right? And I just hope that the money never corrupts me. You know what I mean? And for me, it's a very privileged thing to say. My parents, work very, white collar jobs, and I've grown up in, not really wanting for much. I've grown up with a lot of privilege, so I don't necessarily have to worry about money. So I want to make that point with an asterisk, saying that I have the privilege of not even necessarily needing the money per se, right? And if then on top of that, if I still strive for the money as opposed to actually making a difference, then shame on me. And I'm saying this right now on a public recording on YouTube, so that in 10 or 15, 20 years from now, if I'm doing that, please call me out. And I have all my social medias out there. Please call me out in 5 years, 10 years, 20, whatever it is. I hope you guys keep me honest, because at the end of the day, you know, I mean this as truly as I can possibly say this. I frankly don't care if it's me making the difference, if it's Shifa making the difference, if it's Faraz or Shami or anyone else. I just want someone to be there to make sure that, you know, my kids don't have to endure the same racism that I had to, right? To make sure that Meek Mill's son doesn't have to live in the same reality that he had to, you know, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and hopefully all of us can make our own difference in that,
Inshallah.
in our own ways.
Yeah.
Inshallah. Yeah.
I guess kind of going off that, what's really cool, I think, about this platform that we have is that we have such diverse people on here, right? So, you know, one day we might have a doctor, another day we might have a scientist, another day we might have, you know, a rapper, might have an engineer, whatever the case may be. So before I start blabbering on forever and ever and ever, because I think, you know, I think the thing is that both Shifa and I are very passionate about the subjects, as you guys can probably tell. And, you know, we could talk literally for hours, but I don't think anyone's down for listening to it.
Except us.
Yeah. On the bright side, or maybe on the negative, we're going to have a lot of episodes in the future, inshallah. And we're going to hopefully include episodes like this in the future. If you guys like what we're doing over here, definitely tweet us out or, you know, write in the comments below or email us, whatever, if you guys want us to do more of these in the future. And if you don't like it, let us know too. We can stop doing this. You know, if you don't like us talking, that's fine too. But I guess, Shifa, my question to you is, you know, where do you hope to take this podcast in the future? And, you know, what do you hope to do with this and in the next month, year, and, you know, and onwards from there?
Yeah, I feel like I just want to keep, well, first off, just keep doing what we're doing. I just feel like hopefully, inshallah, we keep getting a diverse range of guests, just like different races, different ethnicities, different subjects, and different fields, just because like that's the whole point of this podcast. It's just to show the different, like literally what Muslim looks like, but also not what they look like what I said before. Yeah, so hopefully, inshallah, we have like different age ranges of guests from like our age to elder people or just in the middle, all different ages, just because like different ages gives different perspectives on, you know, whatever they're most passionate about, and things of that sort. So I'm just thinking by like photography, film point of view, hopefully like right now we're doing it remotely, like Ayan's in school, I'm in my school, and then whoever our guests are, they're doing it from wherever they are. Last week we had someone from California while we're both in like New York and Pennsylvania. So hopefully like if this grows big enough, or inshallah in the future, just like doing, I'm just talking from my point of view of like photography and film, but just like doing like little profiles on each people or like different portraits of each person, being able to put that. So if people can't listen to us for an hour, listen to the podcast for an hour, at least they can get like the gist of what we're talking about. So like since half of what our podcast is like what Muslims look like, if we like take portraits of each guest that we do and be able to put that in some sort of like magazine-esque type of situation, I feel like that would be very cool, just because like our message could still come across, and if they want to know more, they can always listen to our hour 45 length podcast episodes. So that's just me for my like artistic vision side of it. But Ayan, I feel like you might have a different point of view. So what do you think, or where do you hope this podcast will go into?
One thing that I really hope is, I don't like. Wait, one second. Let me take this through.
Thank God we can edit.
Yeah, I know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to figure out how to say this properly. I think for me, I mean, obviously the things you touched upon, obviously that would be dope to do, and I think we should do them. I think for me, the biggest thing is, I just really hope that like we build a following, not for vanity, not for like, hey, you know, we hit 100. I don't, you know, frankly, I don't care about that. What I do care about is, I hope we build a following so that people can see other people, Muslim people like them, and be inspired by them, right? And I hope that we can make a platform to amplify other people's voices, right? Because oftentimes, especially in the podcast world, right, it's just people talking and talking and talking and talking, and not much doing, right? Or it's just them talking, not giving, not helping anyone else. You know, I hope that, you know, we can create this platform where we can help amplify people's messages, whether they're, you know, social activists, whether they're rappers or singers, or, you know, entrepreneurs or philanthropists, whatever the case may be. And I really hope that, you know, we can inspire even one person watching this podcast to make a difference in the community, in whatever way that is. You know, if someone's watching this right now and is on the edge about, you know, maybe they're an artist and they're on the edge about, you know, publishing their work, go do it. And by the way, if anyone is, you know, on the edge about this kind of things and wants to talk to us about this, maybe a photographer, want to talk to Shifa, maybe you want to run for, you know, office or we want to run for student government in your school, definitely reach out to me as well. And if you guys are doing anything cool or creative, please make sure to reach out to us. We'd love to feature that on our own personal Instagrams or even on the WMLL Facebook page or Instagram pages or Twitter pages. Because at the end of the day, we want to show what Muslims look like, as Shifa said, in a variety of aspects, right? Not just this podcast talking to them, but if you're a photographer, let's show off your work. If you're a rapper, let's show off your music. And maybe what would be a cool idea is, if you guys are musicians, hit us up with your music, email us your music, and maybe we can include it in the beginning or the end of our episodes. And of course, we'd obviously attribute you and link you in the bio below.
I know all about that credit life. So.
100%. We're not gonna steal anyone's mojo. But my point being is that, at the end of the day, as I said before, when one of us wins, we all win. And ultimately, I guess my long-term goal is make sure that we create a platform where everyone can win, whether you're Muslim, non-Muslim, Sunni, Shia, Hanafi, Shafi. Black, white, Arab, Pakistani. It's a big thing in the community where there's such an emphasis on South Asian Muslims, to the point where we're erasing the histories and the experiences of Black Muslims, especially, and Arab Muslims, and revert Muslims and Hispanic Muslims. Mm-hmm. I want to definitely highlight these people as well. If you guys are part of those communities or know anyone who's doing great work in those communities, reach out to us as well. So I guess my biggest thing is, we don't have all the answers. 100%. I mean, I don't have nearly enough answers.
I don't either.
And the reason why I think we want to do this podcast is that we can ask questions, and we should always be asking questions. We should always be learning. So I guess very long story short, please reach out to us if you want to be on this program, if you want to highlight your work, if you're doing cool things, or if you just want to talk. We'll always be available for you don't have to be Muslim, you don't have to be South Asian, you don't have to be American. Whoever you are, if you're watching this program right now, we want to be of value to you. It's not just about what Muslims look like. We want to show that Muslims look like anyone else. And we want to show that Muslims are like anyone else. And at the end of the day, Allah has commanded us to treat all human beings with dignity and respect. If it says in the Quran, if anyone saves even one life, it's like they saved the life of all mankind. It didn't say if anyone saved the life of a Muslim. It says if anyone saved even one life, that's like saving the life of all mankind. So obviously, I don't think I'm going to save no one's life by doing this, but we love to help in any way we can, and please do reach out, and I mean that sincerely. Please, we'd love to help you, and we'd love to learn as well. If you guys think you could offer us any advice, we'd 100% be down for that as well.
Yeah, we're just two brown kids, so we have our perspective of being brown, but if you have perspective of being any other identity, that's exactly what we want to help feature and showcase on the podcast. So definitely reach out. And
if we've said of course, anything good we say is from Allah. And anything bad we say is from our own sins and our own transgressions. And if we have said anything to offend you or anyone else, please do reach out to us and let us know. If oftentimes I joke around a lot, and if my jokes come off the wrong way and you take it the wrong way, please do reach out to me. And I do want to correct myself, and I mean that sincerely. I'm a human. I make mistakes. Shifa's a human. She makes mistakes. We all make mistakes. And I think it'd be a valuable lesson for if I'm making a mistake, to correct that, and also on this platform to say, hey, listen, I made this joke last week. It was made not with bad intentions, but obviously came off the wrong way, and I apologize for that, and I will correct that in the future. I think that'd be a really cool thing we can do. And ultimately, when you put yourself out in the public, you are an influencer of sorts. Even though our entire 60 subscribers or whatever, we're not we're not
half of them being our friends.
Yeah, exactly, right. We're not Dina Tokyo or anything like that. But I think we all have to hold us up to a high standard. And understand that we need to operate in a classy and dignified way. So once again, if you guys think we're doing anything wrong, we can improve, please do reach out to us, and we'd love to hear your input.
Thank you guys for listening. If you have any other suggestions or people or anything else that you think we should add or talk about, please let us know. Email us or talk to us on social media. It's all linked down below in the description. So thank you guys, and hopefully we'll see you next week, inshallah.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Take care.